Got the Bible open. Pop it, baby. Let's get going. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the sermon recap. I'm Kirkwood Bullis. Almost forgot my name there for a second. I'm Kirkwood Bullis. It's the afternoon. We're about ready. Cheers.
Cheers.
We're about ready to get ready for Fall Fest. Cheers to Reformation Sunday. What are you even drinking? What is this thing?
A Fit Aid RX. You got to get your BCAAs in me, electrolytes, especially after this tough sermon. Two sermons. Honestly, I'm Matt does it every week. So I'm drinking up my Fit Aid.
What is it? Is there caffeine in that? I'd ask you for a sip, but I'm still
It's
recovering.
electrolytes.
Just electrolytes. I don't
great.
know what BCAAs are. Do you want to try to tell everybody what those are? You don't know what they are. You don't even.
Branch chain amino acids.
Oh, very nicely
Yeah,
done. Okay,
that's what's in like protein.
This is a protein drink?
No, it's not a protein drink. But this is all right. Honestly, I'm not a Coke. I don't drink Coke. Stay away from soft drinks. So
Okay. So this has a lot of alcohol in it?
no alcohol.
Oh, so it is a soft drink.
It's not a soft drink.
It's just not carbonated.
It's carbonated. There's no sugar. It's not like a sugary drink. It's a good drink.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
Fair enough. Well, speaking of alcohol, right? It's Reformation Sunday. We were just talking about how before the camera went on, we were talking about how Martin Luther was definitely not a Baptist, right? Because we all know that he enjoyed beer way too much. So sorry about that. Sorry about that with all the references to Martin Luther. Have we canceled him yet? I don't know what we're talking about. This is your second time on the sermon recap. And you came last time, people kind of got to know you, but today you actually preached a message, which we're going to get to in a second. But there's lots of other things we got to tackle first. Do you want to go? I have a few things. Do you want to go first? You said you had some notes for Reformation Day.
Oh, Reformation Day.
Well, you called it something else.
Oh, see, I've learned that we don't call it Halloween here.
I don't know if there's a we. This is like my personal thing.
Well, so I'm a pastor's kid.
Me too. Guilty as charged.
That's the thing. Is like, as pastor's kids, my mom and dad, especially my mom. I don't think my dad cares as much, but my mom hates Halloween. So okay. my mom would literally go door to door.
Oh, no.
And we'd still go trick-or-treating because we like the candy. So.
Yeah, why not?
We would go door to door, knock on the door, and we weren't allowed to say trick-or-treat. We would say, my mom would make us say, happy fall time, Jesus loves you.
You're kidding me.
Happy fall time.
This is not real.
Jesus loves right here, I got my brothers in the room with me.
Well, we're going to get to them in a second.
But so one time, Jared is trick-or-treating, and me and my brother Jake are a little bit older, and Jared's still a kid. So we're just kind of walking with him, and we're like, and Jared goes, happy fall time, Jesus loves you, at the door. And the woman at the door is like, do you mean trick-or-treat? And then Jared literally goes, my mom hates Halloween. My mom hates Halloween. He's like, I don't know, like 3 to 5. I don't know.
It's incredible what the lengths that kids will go to get candy.
Oh yeah.
They'll do anything. Yeah. I've got 2 of my kids in the studio today, and I know, and they're being quiet right now because they know if they're quiet enough, I'll give them a peppermint after this is
Robbery.
Over. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. So you guys had to go every single year. Miss Rondi is up there. She's like, no, you're not saying trick or treat. We're rebelling in the midst of all this.
We were trying to be light into a dark world.
I remember going trick or treating, and I was dressed up as a monk. And then the next year, I'm not kidding. And then the next year, I was this huge monk walking down the street. And then the next year, I really spiced it up. And I wore the exact same costume. I just carried a lightsaber, and everyone was like, "Sweet, Obi-Wan Kenobi," because it really is kind of the same thing. That was last year. So anyway, sorry, that was supposed to be a joke about how anyway, it's a tough crowd in here. Next bit, not bit, but segment. So I've struggled with this. This is one of the ways that I've been showing my age. It frustrates me, but it just so happens that you have a brother that is here on staff. You're not the only Wilks that's on staff.
I'm the JV. I'm junior varsity.
So we're going to call in Josh Wilks, not Josh. See, this is what I'm talking about. We've already called in Josh Wilks. We're going to call in Jared Wilks to come in. And Jared, would you just, let's welcome him in studio, please. Jared, just stand right here for just a second. And I'm going to really take myself through this, and I'm going to cover up the answers. I'm just going to try to guess the answers.
Oh.
And we're going to try to understand just the difference between you two, okay?
Oh, man.
Jared, I had to think about that so hard.
Here I am.
Jared, this is terrible because I work with you every day. Jared Wilks, Josh Wilks. Okay, this is the quiz that Joanna sent to me.
Oh, my goodness.
Which one preached on Sunday? I know that one. That was Josh Wilks. Thank you. Yeah, let's get it going.
That's an easy
Kids, make sure you.
Yeah.
That's an easy
Okay,
one.
Joanna, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Which one is the creative producer? Jared Wilks.
Correct.
Got it. Got it.
My
Very
wife
good.
is cheering for me. No one else, but
Which these are good. Which one has 3 children? I hope that it's only you, Josh. You
We had
have any extra?
honeymoon triplets.
Honeymoon triplets. Go. Sarah, yes, no. She says no. Sarah's his
Definitely
wife.
not.
Sarah's actually here too. Okay. Which one is bald? Wow, that's a little bit harsh. Court you.
All the baby here.
Which one has hair? At least for now. That's really.
At least for now.
That's really
Hey!
He's holding
Did you
on.
write-
Hey, he's holding on right now. He's
Yeah.
holding on.
He's holding
holding
on.
on.
Holding on for dear life. Hey, it's okay. You just got hitched. You can lose your
Yeah.
hair if you need to now. Okay, so all right, now which one still has luscious locks? Does that mean you? I don't understand.
I think it was you.
No, I'm not a brother.
Well, they don't know about the third brother.
What are you talking about?
There's another one. There's
Introduce-
You have
Six.
another brother?
Introducing you live here in the studio, Jacob Williams. He's
You brought the third brother?
the most handsome brother.
Yeah. That's
Period.
a risky statement there.
Here
I
it is.
can't
If I stand
believe
by that
this.
one.
How you doing?
Hi.
Good to see you.
J-
Good to see you.
Jake?
Jake, yes.
Josh,
Jacob.
Jake, and Jared.
Josh,
Yep.
Jared.
This is all right. This.
J2. J2, in other words.
Do we have another position on staff for Jake?
I was gonna say, did we hire him?
No.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Jake is here.
Yep.
I'm here.
Okay. The next question is which one doesn't work at Valleydale? So I know that's now.
Not yet.
I'll be the bodyguard.
Which one has joined the recap just to confuse everyone? Joey.
That's a good question. That's
I
a good
should have
one.
read all these before I really got into
That's
it.
great.
Okay. So Jake has had 3 in a row. Which one is a newlywed? That one's Jared. How long y'all been married now?
Oh.
You don't know yet.
Sarah, 5 months.
You're supposed to know this, Jared.
5 months.
5 months. Wow, congratulations. You guys have really stood the test of time. But you've been together like 6 years, right? Isn't that something like that?
Almost 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And then which one is the college and young adult pastor? I know that is Josh. Oh, that's the next question. Which is the one who looks most like an athlete now?
Oh.
There you go. Wow,
Well,
Joanna
yeah.
really went hard in the paint on these
Jake's pretty
questions.
good night. This is like we should just have like 3 chairs. Just
I know this has
Fire
really become a tell-all sort of thing. Which one wears a hat almost 24/7?
that's kind
I
of.
feel like you guys both wear hats. Or sorry, yeah, the
Yeah, I
third.
like
Jake
hats.
does too.
Yeah.
Is
I have a
that
hat
everybody?
here.
And the answer's both.
Trick question. The
I will
answer's
say all
both.
3. I didn't know that about Jake.
Which one is older? You are the eldest, right?
I'm the oldest.
You're the
yeah.
eldest. Okay.
We're 2 years apart.
That was all. So that's all the questions. So let's just take one more look at them. The Wilks Brothers 3.
Here we are.
Congratulations to Jake for his new position on staff.
Thank you.
We don't know what it is yet,
Thank you.
but
Happy to be here.
It has to happen.
Recreational assistant.
and,
Rec assistant.
Yes.
all right, we'll see. I guess we'll see you guys later.
See you later.
Thank you, guys.
I feel like I have so many other questions for Jake.
Dude.
Maybe we just need to have him on the thing,
Oh, and-
next week.
We got mom in the building right
Oh,
there.
Miss Rondi's here. Miss Rondi, you need. Well, it should just be a big family affair here. Okay, we'll ask her more questions later on. Do we have any other bits we need to get to before we get to the message? Do you even want to talk about the message?
We can. I mean, there's a lot there that we
That
definitely
was a trick
couldn't
question. We have to. Well, that's the thing. I want to ask you
Absolutely, I
some
want to
about
talk
that.
about that.
So
Yeah,
a lot
let's
of
do it.
times with pastor, like I'm not really in the business of playing the stump the pastor kind of thing. I'm not really into that. But I do like I like kind of knowing what are some of the things that you wanted to really get into, but maybe you knew you didn't have the time to do it. Now this was a really tight message today.
Yeah.
which I'm going to have
Yeah.
Pastor watch this several times just so he can learn from you a little bit.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Let him evaluate me.
Yeah,
And critique me. And
no, I'm going to have him just look at it.
teach me a lot.
Figure out how to get things done in, I don't know, 26 minutes or less, something like that. But I just wanted to hear, you were preaching from John 4. There are so many things that can be said about this passage. You took a really strong evangelistic sort of bent with it, which I thought was really wise and very helpful. But was it like, as you're preparing the message about Jesus and the woman at the well, tell me like some of the things that you felt like you had to leave out just for the sake of time. Let's talk about it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to leave out there. Really going into the woman's history and like how she has, she's there at noon. She's there.
Yeah, it's a kind of a time of shame, right?
Mm-hmm. So she was probably shameful and just like unworthy. And on top of that, Jesus meets this. He's talking to a woman, which is not
common,
not
right?
common. And not only so, it's a woman who's in shame, who's in sin, it's not a common conversation you usually see, and it's also in Samaria. So
yeah, tell me more about what you learned about the relation with the Jews and the Samaritans.
Yeah, they hated each other. You had so like the Jews and the Samaritans. I didn't get totally into it because I was going to leave it on my message, but apparently, a long time ago they were like half-breeds. Samaritans were kind of like half-breeds.
Oh, okay.
So the Jews married ungodly people, and then they had these with other people who weren't Jews.
Uh-huh.
So these Jewish people married these other people who weren't Jews, and they had these people who were half Jew, half Gentile, and then later down the road they want to, come back to faith and practice religion, I guess, the Jewish faith, but they were seen as like half-breeds and not holy.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a full-on racist kind of thing.
Yeah,
but it was,
racism.
but it's true that they did have different opinions about what the law says, and they had a different place where they wanted a temple to be. Like they worshipped in a different place, which you could see why the Jews were so vocally against that. So yeah, we had to leave that. I mean, Pastor probably, if he was here, he'd probably be smacking us both upside the head. Be like, no, I'm going to preach a 6-week sermon series on this. Like, how
he would know all about that. I didn't know. I don't know. I know a little bit, but I didn't dive all the way in it. I do know that that Jacob's well actually is still existing.
So that's the well. It's Jacob's well.
It's Jacob's well.
Oh, that's really interesting.
It still exists, and it is 148 feet deep.
Is that especially deep for a well at that time period?
That's a deep well.
Oh, okay.
And so the idea that she said this is a deep well. Well, they've actually found. So the cool thing is, there's not many other places in Scripture where they know the exact location Jesus was.
Yeah, oh, right.
But right here, we know that he sat at this well.
Wow.
And it was Jacob's well. So there's like a building built over it, like a temple or something.
Oh yeah, of course.
But you can go to this well, and you could see how deep it is, and it's actually very close to a place called Shechem, which is Sychar in Samaria. So they know the exact location. That's pretty neat.
That really is cool. Yeah, pastors talked a lot about that, like how you can go to different places, and oftentimes they're not exactly sure. They can just approximate. But this one, yeah, I mean, you can't move a well, right? Like they dig it goes straight down into the ground. You find like those underground streams of water. Wow, 148 feet deep. It's amazing how industrious they were, even those thousands of years ago, to make that happen. So that establishes the location. You have Jesus talking to a woman at midday. This is all very interesting. Did you watch the Chosen episode to prepare for this at all?
I did watch it just to see it, but I mean it's really good. I love the Chosen. I mean it's a great episode. I thought it was pretty.
It's been a while since I've watched it, but yeah, I remember it just being, because you can it just helps you see how excited she was to be receiving this gospel, how excited she was to be talking with a prophet, someone who was able to just discern everything about her life. Now, you didn't get too much into that, right? It was more just about the water itself.
Yeah, it's the living water. One thing I did study, which was interesting.
Yeah.
I avoided it because I was like, man, I don't know about all that. But it's interesting that the well of Jacob was a place of marriage.
Oh, really?
Like the well of Jacob, you had Moses who met his wife at a well.
Oh, I see
You
what
had-
you're saying. Yeah.
so the well was a significant place where a groom and a bride would come.
Because Isaac, it was a similar thing. Isaac
Yep,
also watered.
You have, I think Jacob did, met his wife at the well. So it's like, that's interesting. And then you have Jesus speaking to this woman, which is interesting because you wouldn't speak to a woman unless you were, so it's almost like you have this bridegroom being Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
meeting the bride, right?
Yeah.
Giving her living water. And then you have in Revelation, it says the Spirit and the bride say, "Come."
Yeah, Revelation 22.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
kind of
really,
interesting.
That is really interesting. Yeah, I can see how you could take that angle on it. That Jesus, obviously, even in eternity to come, is the bridegroom, and then you have the woman there standing at the well. Christ is pursuing her spiritually, so she stands representationally of like
as
the
the
church, so to speak.
Mhm. And then the chapter before, he shows up at the wedding, or not before that. In chapter 2, he's at the wedding.
Wedding of Cana.
So it's interesting John's view on Jesus as the bride and the church as the the church as the bride and Jesus as the groom.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that pursuit that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about. I mean, did you research any more about the physical clean water? Because you open with that illustration. You're talking about how there's hundreds of millions of people that still don't have clean water.
Yeah, there's 700 million people. It's actually most of them are in Africa, in some of those tribes of Africa.
Yeah.
They don't have clean water, and they're drinking. I even watched a YouTube video of this guy who has a ministry that's providing clean water for them.
Yeah.
And they have these massive boils on their face, and they're diseased, and it's all because
They're not able to drink clean
simply
water.
they can't have clean water. It's pretty touching.
That's fascinating. Well, we see that illustrated even in the New Testament. I mean, pastors talked about that before, the use of the wine. It was a purifying agent, so they would take the grapes that had fermented and they would put that in water, and that would be one of the things that would cleanse the water and make it useful. And it is sad that physical need has continued even until today. But you're right, there's a lot of really successful missions efforts, where churches can sponsor, we will build a well, and somewhere in Africa we're gonna help with that. But of course, the greater need, and you talked about this, is the need for the living water. Did you say it's 4 billion people are without Christ right now?
I think the last study was 4.6 billion.
These are just not believers.
No, 58% of our nation, of our world.
Is that figure, all unreached people, or is that counts the reached people that are also just choosing not to believe?
I'm not sure. It was
Okay.
on the IMB's website. It was just,
It's
it says
probably-
4.6 billion unreached
Yeah,
people.
probably some.
So I think it's
somewhat
unreached.
That is just staggering to think about. Just staggering to think about. And I get, a lot of times we stop there with talking about isn't that awful how many people are without Christ? But I think I would want to say, and you'd probably say amen to this, we should be that much more amazed that the Lord has saved us, right? That the Lord pursued us. And that's, it's Reformation Day. That's not really through any doing of our own, right? I mean, I didn't choose to be born, in America into the family I was born into with a rich history of faith. I guess you could say the same thing, huh?
Yeah, I think that was kind of a little bit of my heart in preaching this was that, I'm preaching this to myself as well.
Totally.
How often, especially being a pastor's kid, growing up in the church, how often do we just take for granted our salvation?
Oh, all the time.
So
Help us, Lord.
that passage I quoted at the beginning, Paul's prayer that we would know the depths, the length, the width, the height, the depths of God's love. That's something I pray for myself. That has to come by the Spirit of God. I want to be overcome. I want to grow in that knowledge of His love.
Yes.
And I think that's the key to the reason I may fall to a temptation or I may not do this or do that. I think it's all because of that lack of knowing God's love for me and being in awe. If I fully knew God's love for me, and if I was in awe of Christ, I would continually walk in the Spirit, right?
Of course.
So I think that that's part of us. Is like we haven't grown past salvation. Like this message of salvation is for the saved. Like we have to continually bathe in this gospel.
Yeah, we have
and not
to.
just like, oh, we've moved on from that. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and be willing to share it with others, which that's really where you finish things up.
Mm-hmm.
Be willing to share with others and be encouraged as you see other people recognize the glory of this message that we're sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate you giving that message to us today, man. That was cool.
I enjoyed it.
You spoke with the authority of the word, and I guess now we're going to have to turn our attention towards Fall Fest coming up. I was going to ask you if you were going to watch any football this afternoon, but I guess you're not because we're all going to be back here for Fall Fest.
Here all day. I got my fantasy team set.
You're set?
Hopefully I'll win.
So you don't have an NFL team? You're just a fantasy guy?
I like I'm a Cowboys fan.
Really?
Believe it or not. Yeah. So.
Have you given Jared a really hard time about his love for the Denver Broncos?
The Broncos.
Hey.
I like the Broncos, all right.
We'll be 10-5.
So you're saying the
12-5
Broncos?
in 10 weeks.
So the Broncos are going undefeated the rest of the year. That's what you're saying. You're beating the Chiefs today. Wow. Okay.
100%.
Oh, 100%.
Wow.
We'll see.
We will see indeed. Maybe next week I need to have you in to give us some more football picks or something.
I like
that.
players though. I like the Dolphins. You got Tua, and I like the Eagles.
Super
I'm an
fun.
Alabama fan more than a
Yeah.
NFL fan.
Oh man. Oh. I want it for Bama this year so badly because I feel like people are downplaying them. Anyway, we should probably finish up there. Jared, thanks for appearing on camera earlier. Jake already left. He's not into this anymore at all. Miss Rondi is Miss Rondi still here? No, she's not. She left. Well, thanks to Joanna, our producer, for putting together the fun content. Thank you, Valleydale, for letting us still have fun conversations like this, and thank you, Pastor Mac, for continuing to do good work or lack thereof on your sabbatical. And next week we're going to get back to some Where in the World is Pastor Mac, because I forgot to bring that in today. We're gonna get back to.
Now, is he back this coming up week or next?
No. He's not going to be back till the 19th. We've got Rick Burgess in the pulpit next week, and then Barry Chesney in the week after that. And then Pastor will be back on the 19th. In the meantime, we'll see you guys each Wednesday and Sunday, and we're signing off.
Are you dressing up tonight?
You better believe it.
Oh.
I'm back to being King Candy. So I'll see you guys.
Candy.
I'll see you guys. And say goodbye, Josh.
See you. Thanks, guys.